All right, good morning, everyone. I would like to introduce you and welcome you to Office 365 as a Green River student. My name is Dave Jackson. I'm the IT manager here at Green River. I'm usually in the back end. You guys don't usually see me. I'm trying to keep things running so you don't have a bad experience at Green River. And I've got my esteemed colleague, Suhoon, and she's going to actually be our facilitator. She's going to make sure that I don't run us into a ditch. Everyone, if you haven't already done so what we're going to do this morning, just to keep everything sort of easy, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and launch your chat window. That's how we're going to actually ask questions, okay? At this point, we're going to keep everybody else's mic muted just because we have some feedback issues, stuff like that. So if you'll use the chat function to ask questions, again, Suhoon will actually make sure that I get them, and hopefully we can answer them for you. We'll do a little bit of house cleaning here. So if you've never been on Zoom before, you can see here from our first slide, there are some options here for getting onto audio. If everybody's hearing okay on your computer audio, that's your first choice. If not, there is a call-in for your phone. You can do the same thing, and it's over here, as you can see, okay? If you're having technical troubles, you can actually type that into the chat. We'll try to do our best to help. If it gets to be too much, because we're going to continue on with the presentation, I do have my help desk folks that are available to take the call as well. So it's it. If you need that, we can actually get that out for you. And then finally, like I said, go ahead and launch that chat. So can I get kind of a real quick that everybody's in chat and that we actually are okay? So I've got something from Chris. If everybody can launch that chat window, just let me give me a here or that you're there so I know that we've got communication. That'd be great. Hi, Amanda. Chris, you're looking good. Okay. Hi, everybody. Woohoo! This is half the battle. We have communication. Half the battle. All right. Let's get going here. Now, guys, as we go along, I'm not that kind of presenter. I actually like interactivity, so I wish I had a little bit more of a face-to-face with you guys. So as we have questions, please just bring them up. Do not wait till the end. You can if you want to, if you don't want to interrupt me, but I say a lot of things, so you're probably best to get in and just get going with it. All right? All right. Some house rules. As we already mentioned, please use chat to ask questions. Keep your mic and your video muted. It's not that we don't want to hear you or see you, but you guys just get lucky. You get to see us early in the morning. For technical issues, as I mentioned, go ahead and post into chat. And if you get disconnected or you have a problem with Zoom, you can call my help desk folks. That's the phone number and extension 2222. Normally, they work with employees. So if you get hold of somebody and they're a little bit confused at first, give them a second. They actually know you're coming. So if you have a problem with that, give them a call. They can help you out. All right? All right. Let's get started. Okay, so the whole point of this is, interesting that the times that we're in have actually really lend ourselves well to Office 365. So I was asked to do an overview. I typically jump in. It's going to be about an hour. We're going to go ahead and get you guys a taste of what you have access to. I want to remind everybody that this is not a deep dive, right? In an hour, I can't get real deep into the functionality of all the stuff that Office 365 does. So the whole point is to get you started. We're going to get you out to the web. We'll show you how to log on. We'll show you OneDrive. I'll show you some web apps. And then I'm going to give you a bunch of resources. And then really what you're going to want to do is go out there and start to play with it. Okay, I'm an IT guy. I've been doing IT my entire life. And what I'll tell you is that I still believe the best way to learn IT is to just get out and start to work with it, okay? Office 365 is a very, very large suite of products. I'm gonna give you some of the basics of it, but there's all kinds of stuff out there that you have access to. So there's project stuff, there's presentations, there's Sway, there's Flow, there's all kinds of stuff that if you wanna take the time to look at it, you can go out and kind of do some interesting stuff with it, okay? So again, we're not gonna get a deep dive, but it's sort of an overview to get you started. Right. Now, what we'll be talking about today, we're going to go over Office, what an Office suite is versus Office 365. For some of you guys that are coming in relatively new, this may not be a question. There's some folks that have been actually working with Office for a while. There is sort of this overarching question, right? There's a million flavors of Office. So we've got Office 2019. We've got Office 365. What's the difference? Where do they come in? I'm just going to give you that so you sort of have some context that might be helpful. We're going to log in real quick to Office 365. Again, that should be pretty simple, but we're going to walk through it. I want to go over OneDrive a little bit for you. OneDrive, especially with the telecommuting work that we're doing, the tele-education work that we're doing, OneDrive is going to be very important. OneDrive is actually your storage for files, documents out on the cloud. And because we're all in this brave new world, we're actually getting information in real time. That's going to be an extremely important place for you to store files, okay? So we're going to go over that, how to save files to OneDrive, and then actually how to save files locally. So the biggest thing for everybody seems to be, how do I save my file? How do I access it? And where do I go to access it, okay? And if we have any questions as we're going through, again, please bring them up. Again, my name is Dave Jackson. I'm the IT manager. I've been at Green River for about 3 years now. So, and actually this is my first time doing training for students. So I'm very excited to be doing that this morning. All right. As a GRC student, you actually will get a subscription for as long as you're enrolled at Green River to Office 365, okay? That actually includes a full install of Office on a PC, Mac, iOS, or Android device, okay? You can do 5 total downloads, okay? So PC, Mac, 1 phone, 2 phone, 3 phones, that's your 5, right? Or 1 phone, 2 phones, 2 PCs, and a Mac, that's your 5. If you get to the 6th one, the system's gonna tell you you're not authorized, okay? But you are able to use that. It's a really nice perk, and I'll show you a little bit how you can actually get to those files to download to your local PC. Now, having said that, what may be better for you guys, depending on how you like to work, is actually the web apps, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well, okay? The other thing that you get is up to 1 terabyte of storage in OneDrive. If you don't know what a terabyte is, just trust me, it's a lot of files. You've got more space than you need. And so you can use this for all of your schoolwork. Please be cognizant, I'll just say this is standard safe computing. Please don't put anything out there on your cloud storage that you wouldn't want someone to see. So any kind of files that would be weird or strange, please do not put them on your school cloud storage. That's not appropriate. All right. Okay. What's in a name? All right, let's talk a little bit about, hold on a second here. Let me move this out of the way. There we go. What's in a name? Okay, Microsoft Office versus Office 365. So for most of you guys coming in, you're going to come in at an age that you're probably not as familiar with an Office suite, okay? What you used to see quite often, Office has been around for a long time. I am lucky enough to have been in IT to know this personally. And what happens is an Office suite is basically you'd go out and buy an Office, say like a 2019. You'd come home, you have your license, you'd actually go and you'd install it on a local PC, okay? So basically, that included some core functionality, some core programs that have tended to be with Office since the beginning. All right. Microsoft Word, okay? If you're not familiar with Word, Word is actually the most widely used word processing program on the globe. It's been around forever. At this point, I think everybody's pretty familiar, and if not, we can get you a little deeper dive on it. PowerPoint, I actually use PowerPoint to create what you're looking at here, this lovely masterpiece. Everybody go, ooh, ah, right? So this lovely masterpiece that I created, I actually created in PowerPoint, okay? OneNote. Now, OneNote is kind of interesting, and for you guys as students, I actually really like OneNote. So OneNote is basically a virtual notebook, okay? So what it does is it allows you to actually capture notes for classes. You can actually capture web information. You can put audio information in it. It's very, very free form though, right? So think about it as your online notebook. So you can use it for things like school. You can actually use it for whatever you want. If you have a work job situation, you can use it for that as well. But if you haven't checked it out, it's a really, really versatile tool for taking notes and keeping information. So we use it actually in my IT department to document process. Okay. Microsoft Excel, the program for crunching numbers. We use it at the school a lot. Actually, it's one of my favorite programs. And then Outlook. So we got all things email. So Outlook will actually can be installed locally on your PC, or you can go out to the web client as well. So there is an option to use it on the web. All things email. But the problem with this, like I mentioned, is that an Office suite only works really well for one person at home on their local PC. So let's talk about Office 365. How does that change that, right? So if you're at home, this used to be the use case. You'd be at home on your PC. You'd go home, install Office, and you'd work on it. Nowadays, things are different, right? So what we're going to be doing nowadays is you guys are used to getting information on the fly. You have your phones, you have your tablets, you have your laptops, right? You're always wanting to get info. So what has happened is that we took those core applications in Office, okay, and we started to build on them. Microsoft started to basically web enable them, okay? So we'll take those core Office applications. We've got our single use case, but let's take a look at it, right? First thing we're going to want to do, if we want information in real time, we're going to actually start to think about different use cases, right? If I'm in the library, maybe I need to access something on my phone. I'm out, I'm on my tablet, I've got the Wi-Fi connection, right? I'm in the library, coffee house, or even online classes, ta-ta! You see how I worked that in there? All right, so again, the use cases have really changed, right? So Office had a bit of a problem. They basically said, wait, the world is changing, how are we gonna do this? Just installing this Office suite on a single PC is not really very functional anymore. So what they started to do is they took those core Office applications, connected everything up on the World Wide Web. Okay, so everything now starts to talk to each other. The Office apps phone home, the web apps can actually run in a browser. All the apps talk to each other, the licensing goes online, right? So first thing we did is we enabled everything for the web. We added some online storage, right? Because it doesn't do you any good to be able to access the files online if you can't, or excuse me, the programs online if you can't actually get your files if they're on the local PC. So what we did is we added OneDrive. OneDrive is a cloud-based storage, okay? Again, this is where you guys can store your personal information. You've got the options, you can share it out. And you do get up to 1 terabyte. It's included with your subscription. So we're gonna add that. Yes?
Sorry, I have a question from a student. Person is asking, do Green River students get free access to Office software?
You do. So as long as you're enrolled, you'll get a subscription to Office 365. And I'm going to walk you in a minute through how to log in. Okay. So you have all the web apps that are available. You've got all the applications that are available. And for the Office core apps, right, for Word, OneNote, Publisher, Outlook, Excel, those kind of apps, you can actually download 5 total installs of Office, okay? So that's a combination of devices. So that's like 5 PCs, 3 PCs, 2 Macs, 3 PCs, a Mac, and a phone, anything that is actually combining to 5 installs. After 5 installs, it's going to track where you've installed them and tell you you can't do that. And then you'll have to go in and uninstall off of 1 PC or 1 device, and then you'll have a license freed up to install on another. But yes, you absolutely do. You get 5 installs. Great question. All right. So like I said, we're going to go over here to online file storage. We've got our OneDrive now. So we're getting there. We're getting closer and closer to being web enabled, right? So then the next thing we do is we still have a problem with that Office suite, right? We've got to install it on the local PC. Now, in order to not do that and to make Office truly mobile, what we did is we actually took those core applications, so the Word, the OneNote, Publisher, Outlook, Excel, and they also created web apps for them. So you might ask yourself, what's the big difference? Well, some of us are used to working with clients on the local PC. So you do have the ability to take Office, download it off of Office 365 and install it on your computer. However, if you're in a situation like you're at the library or you're at the lab or whatever, and you just have access to a PC that has internet connection, you can actually go out and use these web apps without doing any installs, right? So now you've got storage, you've got World Wide Web connectivity, and you've got web apps, right? So really, we're getting away from this idea that you have to install it locally on a PC. You have that option, but now everything's starting to become mobile, right? How are we doing? We doing okay with everything? All right, so we've got the Office core web apps, and then finally, we needed the piece that was missing here. If everything goes mobile, right? The piece that's missing is really the real-time communication, right? So, okay, now we've got our World Wide Web connectivity, we've got our storage, we've got our web apps, and then we went ahead and added something called Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is a relatively new thing from Microsoft. It is a real-time chat program. You can actually access it. You can download it and install it or access it at teams.microsoft.com. And this will allow you guys to chat specifically with other students. So if you actually have that option out there with other students, working groups, you can use Teams to do that. All right, and then All of that put together is Office 365 versus an Office 2019. Okay. So this is what you guys get access to as long as you're students at Green River. Any questions? Okay, we'll move on. All right, how do I log into Office 365? Now, there's a bunch of ways to do this. Now, what I've really told people in general is that what I tend to do, only because I tend to not remember URLs directly, right, is I actually will go out to Google, point my browser and do an Office 365 login. That'll always get you to your login for Microsoft Office 365, okay? There are other options, like you can go out to the greenriver.edu website, okay, go to the quick links option, and you can also go to student email. Student email is Outlook, okay? It's Outlook on the web. So what you do if you hit that link, it will take you into Outlook on the web. You will sign in the same way you would sign in normally, but it's going to take you into Outlook directly. You're still in Office 365, but you're not going to come in the front door. You're more coming into a side door. Okay, so there are options there, and people will tell you to use that option. For me, I like to go out and go in the front door. So I go in Office 365 login in Google. Okay. All right, usually it's the first search results that come up. Office 365 login, Microsoft Office. Go ahead and select that link. Now, if you've logged into Office before, okay, what you're going to find, it's going to come back and typically it's going to prompt you. It's going to say, I'd like you to pick an account. That's because in order to speed up your login, Office is going to keep whatever account you've used previously, okay? So in this case, my significant other is actually a student in Green River, so I've actually gone ahead and grabbed that account. So if you don't see this, it means you've never logged in before, okay? If you do see this and it is your school account, you can just select that and go ahead and put your password in and log in, okay? In this case, we're going to assume that that account that's already there is not a school account, okay? I'm going to go ahead and select new account. I'm going to put in my email address from Green River, okay? That is going to be what that you're going to use for your user ID. Your password is also the password you use for Green River. What happens is that the Green River network reaches out to the Office 365 network and they sync that password up. So when you change it in Green River's network, give it about 10 minutes, it's going to go back out to Office 365 and it's going to sync those two up. So if you ever run into a problem with that, there may be a sync issue or it might be a little bit of a timing issue, but in general, that's always going to be the case. So when you're logging into Office 365, it's going to be your Green River credentials. Suhon, you're looking a little bit bored there. How are we doing? All right. All right, when you do log in, it's going to take you to the Office 365 hub, okay? Now, this is really where you're going to, remember I talked about the front door? This is the front door, okay? When you drop in here, now remember I actually used my significant other's account here, so I did shade out everything, so there is no FERPA data or anything like that for this person. But what it kind of does, it drops you into a quick launch menu, okay? So what you're going to see here is we've got quick access to web apps. So Outlook, OneDrive, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, SharePoint, Teams, and Sway. I'm not going to mention Sway. Remember I mentioned there's all kinds of little functionality and cool little programs that Office 365 has. Go out and take a look at it. If we had a little more time, we'd do a little deeper dive into it. There's a lot of functionality that we're not even touching on right now, okay? All right, now, remember you asked if you could install Office. Can you download and install it? This right here where it says Install Office in the upper right-hand corner, that actually is going to take you to your install options, okay? So it typically will auto-sense it. If you're on a PC, you go to Install Office, it's typically going to go out, it's going to censure on a PC, and it's going to present you with the options for download for a PC. If you're on a Mac, same thing, right? If you're on a phone or a tablet, you're on an iOS device, that's a different process, right? You're going to go out to the App Store, you're going to download it from that sort of scenario. But with any type of PC, Mac, something like that, it's going to go through here, okay? All right, let's take a look at it. We're going to access your web apps, like I mentioned. You can install your PC or Mac downloads from here. This All Apps button right here, when you click on this, you're going to see everything that comes with Office 365. If I get a second, I'll actually go out and take a look at that for you. It's a lot. There's a lot of functionality there. You're going to be a little shocked. There's things like the shifts, and there are flows and power. There's everything out there. It's pretty amazing. Most of the time, for what you're doing, you may not even use it. All right, documents that you frequently access or that have been very active will usually show up under the recommended location here, okay? It's gonna give you a quick blurb. You can't see these because I've actually, like I said, I've actually graded them out, but this will give you a real quick look at the document itself. Now down below here, other documents such as recent, ones that I've pinned on there that quick find, shared documents with me, those are all options as well. And what it'll do, and what it will do, it will actually show them here listed, okay? And again, I've graded that out. There's some email address stuff there. Any questions on the Office 365 Hub? Bueller. Okay, we're gonna keep moving. You guys are all whizzes at Office, right? Okay. All right, OneDrive. I want to take a minute to go over OneDrive. Again, OneDrive is going to probably be one of your most important things. Again, what is OneDrive? OneDrive is an online cloud storage platform from Microsoft. Now, you might actually see there's different flavors of it. I'm not going to get into a lot of that. There is what's called a personal flavor and a work or school flavor. Okay, so you're going to see everything from Green River is going to have a Green River identifier on it. Okay, now OneDrive. The easiest way to access, there's all kinds of ways to do this, right? The easiest way to access is to go to your browser, access it through your browser, and then you have the full functionality. You can see all the files, you can see all the folders in it. You can also do some other things. You can actually take OneDrive when you're pretty familiar with it. You can sync it up to your local PC. It'll keep copies on your local PC versus on the cloud. They'll sync them up so everything is in sync in real time. But until you're real familiar, be careful, right? If you go out and you put that into your PC, just be careful you don't get stuck in a syncing issue of some sort, right? At first, what I suggest is you go out, get familiar with it in the browser, and then you can come back at a later time and do the sync process. If you're familiar with it, go for it, right? But sometimes in the sync process, it gets a little confusing. Am I a local file? Am I out there in the cloud? If you go to the browser, you know where you're at. All right. What I mentioned here is that OneDrive is kind of the glue, right? When you're in an Office web app, okay, when you're in an Office client, so a locally downloaded PC, Word, Excel, etc. When you're actually out there, all the options default to saving to OneDrive. Okay, again, the whole idea from Microsoft Office 365 is to save it out to a location that is accessible anywhere. So you can have that access on your phone if you need it, or you can reference it, or you can take a look at it. Okay. All right, let's go take a look at this real quick. So remember, this is a representation of that hub that I talked about. I'm going to jump out here real quick and give you some real-time stuff here. So remember, I mentioned here, I've got a Scruffy Dog 1 account, use another account. All right. Again, every time I log in, it's going to save something here for me. So I have the option to log back in it again. Okay. So we're going to go out here. In this case, I'm not going to take you to my work one. I'm going to take you to a personal one because I've got some files stored out there for you. Okay. All right. Now, remember, this is just a standard view that you've got. I've just logged in. Here's your hub that we talked about, right? So there's your web apps, okay? I've got all of this information here as far as files that have been looked at, my install office. This is a personal account, so I even have a buy office. You will not have this option in Green River's account because you actually been paid for Green River, all right? Your main menu to access all of the apps when you're in the web is over here on the left. Apps, and this is my all apps folder that I talked about. So here's quick links to Outlook, Word, PowerPoint, To Do, Calendar, OneNote. Remember I said if you hit that all apps button, same one here, gives you a listing of everything that is actually in Office 365. It's quite a bit. Okay. All right. Now let's go to OneDrive. Okay, so this is, again, this is very similar to what you would actually see. So what I've actually put in here, this is my personal one. I've got some student files that I've actually given you guys. I've got links to files that are in there. So the resources that are actually available to you for like cheat sheets and stuff are coming off of my OneDrive. I wanted to show that you could do that. Okay, you can't share it quite the same way in Green River, but you do still have some basic options to do that. So what I did is I put actually my student office overview PowerPoint out there. I've got a resource link on some on a PDF for some quick cheat sheets, quick start guides, some things that you guys can go after. Okay. And I'm going to give you that link here in chat in just a second. Now, for quick start guides, you'll go into it like if you're running a Mac, Outlook Android, Outlook iOS, Outlook Web, Windows. So all of the Windows quick start guides will be here. All of your Mac quick start guides will be here. I did include Outlook for iOS, Outlook on the web, and Outlook for an Android phone because that typically tends to be what you're using your phone for. Okay. If you go out here, we're in OneDrive. Again, standard stuff, right? I've got my files here. I talked to you about a quick sheet. We just click on it. Again, my information is always available with me. As long as I've got the internet, I'm golden. Okay, but go out and take a look at these, right? Because again, we're not going to be able to get down deep into these, but these are options for you to go back and reference. You can print these out. You can have them on the local and have them available for you. Okay, I will share that directory with you in chat here momentarily. So Hoon, please don't let me forget. All right. All right, let's go back here, guys. All right, so we talked about how to upload using OneDrive, okay? So let's go back. We're gonna go back to OneDrive one more time. Sorry about that, guys. All right, I'm gonna go in here. There are multiple ways to upload in OneDrive, okay? You can actually, probably the easiest, like I said, go out to your browser, you're gonna launch OneDrive. Right here, we've got our upload button, okay? Files or folders. Now, usually you can do both. With Office, there's always a little something, right? So in most browsers, you can upload it. Nowadays, you can upload an entire folder, and it will take all of those files with you. It is not ubiquitous, though. On some browsers, typically on Firefox, old versions of Internet Explorer, stuff like that, you cannot upload the file folder, just the files. So then you need to go and do it a slightly different way. You create your file folder and then upload into them, okay? But nowadays with most modern browsers like Chrome and Firefox, you can upload a whole file folder and it will take all your files with you, put it out here for you to reference later, okay? So I'm gonna go out here, I'm gonna grab files, and it's just gonna take me to my local file, right? So if it's on my desktop, I'm gonna go out here. I am going to pick up like my screen share in Teams. We're gonna open that up, uploading one item to my files, and there you go. Now I've got a copy of it that's available for you guys to take a look at. I can share it out, or I have it anywhere I go. Really easy, really simple way to do that. Any questions on OneDrive? Everyone feeling pretty comfortable with that? Give me a heads up, we're doing good. And in the pacing, are we going too high, too low? How are we feeling? Give me some feedback here, guys.
Don't forget you can use the chat box to give feedback.
Yes, please.
Or you can also choose to unmute your mic.
Are you all asleep? Be honest. It's early in the morning on a Monday. Good. Thank you, Ryan. I live for these things. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, cool. At least Ryan's still awake. I like that. Ryan, when you come into campus, you're going to have to come meet me. I'll get you a latte or something. I owe you something. All right. Let's go back here, guys. Okay. Upload a file using your browser. Well, gosh, we just did that. I'm a little ahead of the game. Sorry. So you do almost think that I actually wrote this over the weekend because I'm already doing it from my head. Okay. Same idea we just talked about. All right. Now, the other thing that everybody really wanted you guys to pick up was how to save a file locally. Because again, it's going to be kind of a different kind of scenario, right? So here's the, whoops, got ahead of myself a little bit. All right, so here's the thing. By default, web apps for Office or the Office downloadable the downloadable programs. So the Office suite that you can download to put on your local PC or the web apps, by default, they will save to OneDrive, okay? You can save locally, same way that you've done it forever. Save as, save, we'll walk through that in a minute, okay? There's also, by default, it has a setting in there to save to OneDrive, but you can go in and actually change that and default it to your local. Here's the problem with that, guys. What happens on a local drive? Well, if I save all my stuff on my local drive, if something happens, God forbid, doesn't happen very often, you lose the file. The other problem is if I've got it on my local hard drive, I can't share it, I can't annotate it, and if I'm remote, I can't get access to it. Okay, so that's the big trade-off on it. Now, I will say a lot of people, myself included, we save stuff locally. It's just old habit, but I will tell you, please get in the habit of saving it to your cloud storage. I just think that's going to be a better road to success for you. Okay. All right, let's jump back out here for a second. Okay. So a couple things that we're going to saving a file. I am going to jump in real quick here to Word Online and basically start a new blank document, okay? Now there's a couple things with online web apps. Like I said, it will naturally default to saving it to OneDrive unless you tell it to save it somewhere different, okay? Now you're going to get, it's a little bit different stuff here because again, I'm on my personal account, not my school account. So you're going to see some things that you guys will not see. Okay. But what I just did is I launched a brand new Word doc from that hub, that Office 365 hub. It went out, created a brand new doc for me and launched Word Online. So I'm back in my browser. Any browser will work, right? When we're done, now this is a little confusing with Microsoft Web Apps. As you move through the app or the document, doesn't matter if it's Excel, doesn't matter if it's Word, the system will automatically save, okay? So sometimes I'll even find myself, if I'm doing a web document of some sort, right? I'm going back, oh, I got to save it. And I'm going to look for that and it gets a little bit creepy. It automatically saves it, again, back to either local or OneDrive, depending on how you have set it up. Okay, so as you're moving, you'll get those automatic saves. Okay, so don't be confused with that. You do not get the automatic saves on the PC client unless you turn it on. Okay, so if you're looking for that, guys, make sure you turn that on. If you download Office, put it on your local PC, and you want to make sure you have backups, make sure you turn that on. Okay, so then I would do my normal stuff. This is a test. No actual files. Oops. Files were harmed in the making of this test, okay? All right, so let's take a look at it real quick here. So from a file perspective, right, you see I don't have a save because again, it's already created in OneDrive on this web app, right? So it's actually already out there. It's gonna save as I go. The option though, like if I don't wanna do that to OneDrive, is I can do a save as, okay? Download a copy, download as a PDF, or I can save a copy directly to OneDrive as we talked about, right? So this would actually download a copy to my computer. That's going to save as another, if you want to rename it, another copy of it to OneDrive. Again, remember, this is already going to OneDrive, okay? And so it's really hard to kind of not have what you need. Any questions? Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to get you guys, before you walk out of here and chat, I'm going to give you a link to that folder on my personal OneDrive. Again, it has a bunch of different options out there, and it does include the PowerPoint if you want to go back and take a look at it. So I tend to load people down with resources because I understand during this presentation, you're going to maybe retain 15%, maybe. Right? So you're going to have to go back out and take a look at it because you won't be using it all the time. The quick start guides are the ones that I showed you earlier. They're very nice. They are basically printable. You can have them on your system, and it shows you all that stuff you might forget. How to save stuff, how to move stuff, what's going on in your browser, what's going on your ribbon on the top. It's quick reference stuff, right? I got those for the Mac. I've got those for your Windows. And the ones that I actually talked about, the other ones are actually Outlook that we talked about for mobile devices, okay? If you don't do so well with documentation, with written out stuff, if you're more of a video person, Microsoft has some really, quite honestly, pretty good video training programs available for Office 365, okay? So I gave you some options here, Teams, OneDrive, Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. If you go out here, what this is gonna do is take you directly out to an overarching training center. There we go, okay? Where you've got videos literally on any portion of what you're doing on the app. They're all the same, right? So this is Microsoft Teams that I talked about earlier. So Teams, again, is that real-time chat functionality. It gives you an intro, how to set it up, how to collaborate, how to talk to folks, work with posts. So everything that you need is actually available there. So again, what I'm gonna do, because it's a little weird first time we've done this, I'm gonna give you a link in chat. I want you to go ahead and hold on to that link, click it. It's going to take you out to my OneDrive, and you should be able to download this kind of stuff, including my PowerPoint. So you actually can go back and view those links if you need them. I also have a PDF out there just to look at the links as well. Okay.
Dave, we have a few questions here.
Yes.
First one, is the functionality of Office 365 the same as the desktop client?
Good question. You know, because I've been doing this for a while, I've always weaned myself on the desktop client. Now, I will tell you at this point in time, they're pretty much at parity. For a long time, you would get about 70% of the functionality in the web clients. Microsoft, because they've really done such a great job pushing this out and really are doing a good job keeping it up, you now have pretty much parity from the desktop client to the web client. So really, you can do the same thing in both with very limited exceptions. Where you're going to see that become a problem for you guys, if you're working on an essay or something like that and you get into indexing or references, stuff like that, you're probably better to stay off with the desktop client if you can, but it can be done in both, but it's a slightly different process. Good question. What else we got?
Riona wants to clarify, to save locally, you would just click on download a copy in the save option.
Yes, if you are working in the web app, you're absolutely right. Because remember, if we're in that web app, right, it's already, as soon as I did new and Word, let's go back here for a second. So it's going to save that for me. So again, remember, I clicked the Word web app, okay? And I've got some options here, some templates that you would see, you know, again, you get that when you launch it in the desktop client, okay? But we're going to do a blank document. So it's going to automatically go out to OneDrive, create that, bring it up, you can rename it, and now as you're moving through it, it's saving it, okay? So remember, right now we're working on a live file in OneDrive, okay? Now, in order to download it, you would download a copy, as you mentioned, okay? Now, if you're in something that's not web-enabled, like you're in the client, obviously you're just gonna save it locally as you would. It only becomes a point of downloading a copy when you're out on the web app and you're working with a document that's in OneDrive. Good questions, really good questions.
Okay, and then we got one more. Is the content on the web page visible only to me, and is the information secure?
Ah, really good. God, you guys are good. I love these kind of questions. All right, so one couple different things. Microsoft, the information is secure. Okay, Microsoft actually is one of the best partners on the level of Amazon. For those of you that are IT savvy, they are one of the market leaders when it comes to cloud storage. So they guarantee that any Microsoft to Microsoft transaction, Excel to OneDrive, Outlook to Exchange, anything where both sides are Microsoft, they will guarantee that you can secure that stream, okay? So anything in the Microsoft arena is actually secure. Now, having said that, in some cases in OneDrive, be a little careful. If you're going with the school OneDrive, we're going to limit some of what you can share just to kind of make sure that we're keeping everything in compliance, okay? But in your personal OneDrive, you can set up and share files like I'm doing to you today. So that's not an insecure state, but if I do it wrong, it's insecure. Right? So the reality is just be very careful if you're granting permissions directly to your OneDrive to other students, stuff like that. Just be a little careful with it, but it is completely secure. Yeah, it's very, very, very good questions. The information that you saw on the hub, right? So let's go back here. Let's go here. All right. So this always actually confuses people and actually makes people a little bit nervous here at Green River. How are we doing on time? Okay, we got 20 minutes. We're good. All right. So when we first launched this, everybody went out and took a look at this and they went, my God, I'm seeing all these things. My God, I can't have access to all these things. What this does is it gives you visibility to any document you have permissions to, okay? So you'll see stuff that you can only see. You'll see stuff that maybe was shared to you from a team of people. Maybe it's somebody else's document. It's on their OneDrive. So anything you see permissions to, that's going to be what shows up. You will not see anything that you do not have permissions to. I've gone through this with folks here at Green River, and we've actually chased it to make sure. You will not see anything you do not have permissions to, okay? Good questions, guys. I love this. Stump the trainer. Come on, let's go. What else? Are we good? Let me get out there to chat. Thank you. Okay. All right, we good, guys? All right. Let's see here. So I'm going to jump back here. Okay. Oh, and look. It's almost like we're on time. Questions. So I'm going to do a couple things as you guys are thinking about questions. So I'm going to really quickly grab that URL out to my OneDrive. So you have the option of being able to go out and grab the PowerPoint and the documents I've given you. Again, they're not exhaustive. They're mostly out there on the web. You can find them, but I did some of the footwork for you. Okay. So hold on one sec here. Okay. Remember I went into Student Office 365. Okay, so I'm at the folder level now, right? So this is my files, Student Office 365, okay? So I'm gonna do share. Okay, anyone with a link can edit it. Well, sort of. Anyone with a link can go view it. I don't really want you guys to edit my documents. I trust you, I just don't trust you that much. And we'll do this here. We'll hit apply, okay? And then we'll do a copy link. I'm gonna copy that. I'm going to come up here, and hopefully this doesn't blow up in my face. We'll see, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to post this out to everybody. Paste. All right, now, if you click on that link, tell me what happens. Let's see if it works. Now let me know in chat if you got access, because it's possible, like I said. What? Chris, how can you see my files? How dare you? I love that. That's awesome. Good. All right. So you guys go out. I'm going to leave this open for you, okay? So keep this URL. Copy it down. Put it somewhere else in your browser. Make a shortcut to it. I will cut it out. I'll keep it out there for probably 30 days for you guys to have this access. And then we'll create, if this takes off and these online trainings take off, we'll create a more formal way for you guys to go after this information. But I wanted to give you a way to go back and get reference material, okay? And you can also send questions if you like. Don't inundate me, but my name is William David Jackson, wjackson@greenriver.edu, okay? It's a very strange Southern thing, so don't ask the question why. I go by Dave. We all go by our middle names. It's very strange. But wjackson@greenriver.edu. If you've got quick questions, I can actually usually get you some information as well, or at least get you with somebody who might have the answer. Okay, guys. Looking for feedback, too. Remember, this is the first time we've done this for you guys. So if you're finding this helpful, if there are things you wanted to see, you didn't see, let us know, because the only way we get better at this is by letting us know the feedback, okay? Because again, it's kind of hard to hit with you guys because some of you are going to have a lot of skill, some of you maybe not so much. Oops, we got another question. What do we got? I tried to install Office 365 now, but I failed because I already have Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. Should I delete them all and install again? Oh, good question. Okay, so Office tends to not play real well with earlier versions of Office. So it really kind of depends on what you've got. Now, if you've got an earlier version of Office, because this is going to give you what's equivalent to Office 2019, the most current version of Office, right? So if you've got an older version in there, you can kill it. You can uninstall it, put it on brand new. I would if you're going to do it that way, okay? Sometimes what happens, not very often, is that if you lay a new version of Office over top of an old one, sometimes the paths will interconnect and you'll have some problems. So it's always better to pull the old version off and put the new version on clean, although nowadays they're much better about it. So yeah, I'd say that's probably the best thing to do. But be a little careful, right? If you've got that on your PC, for some reason, those older versions of Office, you want them later, make sure you've got a disk or something where you can access them. But there's no reason not to move to the 2019 or the Office 365 version. Good questions, guys. Really good. If we're good, guys, I'm going to go ahead. You're very welcome, guys. Anytime. Great. I'm glad it was helpful. That's awesome. If you have, like I said, if you have any questions, hit me up on email. Try not to kill me on it, but I'll be more than happy to answer them for you, all right? Good luck on the quarter, guys. Piece of cake. Piece of cake.